What's up, everybody? David Yakir here for iHeartRadio's Yak About, a boomer's GPS guide to life. So if you're familiar with the years 46 to 64, then this is the place you want to be. So put your headphones on, go for a run, and listen as we yak about. David Yakir here, helping you be better, healthier, and more informed than any generation that came before. We are broadcasting today from the Dig Studios in the heart of the Treasure Coast, and today we are going to yak about health and yak about tech and some yak about health tech. First up, what you need to know before you talk to a doctor. And next, Alexa. You know the Amazon Echo? Well, it just became a virtual doctor. And for the first time on Yak About Politics, we bring you a university that is offering a course to help sniff out and refute bulldinky, or as it's commonly called, fake news. And keeping with the topic of fake, how to spot fake reviews on Amazon with Fake Spot. And on Yak About Tech, how Verizon Wireless's unlimited plan compares to the competition. Okay, before we begin, remember that this show is sponsored in part by New Vision Eye Center. If you care about your eyes, go see Dr. Minotti, Reinauer, Tate, O'Brien, and the rest of that great team, because I myself, Sally, Wayne, and the entire Yak About team wouldn't trust our eyes to anyone else. And by Chef Bill of Inspired Foods for You, the personal chef and catering company. Their clients on the Barrier Island have been raving about him and how he has made the food experience as unique and individual as the clients themselves. Some call him the caregiving chef. If it's a private chef you need or catering for events large and small, call Chef Bill at Inspired Foods for You at 772-217-5462. And I would be derelict if I didn't remind all of you small and medium-sized businesses that the David Yakir Group now has marketing programs designed specifically for you, from thought leadership programs to full-on marketing and media programs. And remember, in today's world, it's content and conversation which is critical to your go-to-market strategies. Call 212-244-6224 for a free consultation. That's 212-244-6224, or write to us at info@yakirgroup.com. Okay, let's get started here. So, you know how, as you get older, you start going to multiple doctors. And, this year I had my physical and there's a couple of things I wanted to check out. And so the doctor says, well, see the pulmonologist. And then, of course, you've got to go for your colonoscopy tests and endoscopies. And, so you're going to a gastro doctor. And then you're having a little allergy or breathing problem, so the doctor suggests you go to a pulmonologist. Well, I just recently went through that, and I've had a series of experiences that I realized that I'm not sure if I was not communicating right or the doctors didn't have enough time. But anyway, I started researching a few things, and we put together a little how to talk to your doctor type of thing for you guys. And I really want to thank Amy Paturel, who works with ARP, for this. So we put together something called How to Talk to Your Doctor. So if you ever felt that your doctor isn't listening to you, it may be true. So studies have found that doctors let patients speak for only 23 seconds on average before cutting them off. And in one University of South Carolina study, primary care patients were interrupted just 12 seconds after the physician entered the exam room. When there's less doctor-patient dialogue, patients not only more likely to leave the office frustrated, but they're also at greater risk of being misdiagnosed. We've got a few strategies you can try to maximize your office visit and talk so your doctor will listen. First, make a human connection. Right? Before you dive into your concerns, break the ice with a greeting or even a joke. Doctors are people first, and we're much more receptive when a patient begins a conversation with a simple, "How's your day going?" Right? Next, stay on message. Most doctors' visits last 13 to 16 minutes, according to Medscape's 2016 Physician Compensation Report. So after your greeting, get to the point. Oversharing information unrelated to your medical concerns takes time away from tailoring a treatment plan. Next, you gotta tell the doctor the whole truth. You can't expect a doctor to listen to your complaints or adequately resolve them if you're not forthright. Tell your doctor about your fear of falling, substance abuse, sexual dysfunction, or changes in sleep pattern, right? And if you're really uncomfortable with that, rehearse or write it down before you go. If you're uncomfortable discussing embarrassing topics, write a script and rehearse it in front of a mirror. Use words like incontinent, bowel movements, and diarrhea so that when you're talking to the doctor, you'll be more comfortable saying them aloud. Right? And this is something that really frustrates me, is when you walk to the doctor, right, and they say, well, those are the things that come with age. Well, don't accept it's just aging. If you have a symptom that has come on suddenly, keeps you up at night, or interferes with your daily life, be specific about the changes you've noticed. For example, you could say, I've always been on time for appointments, but lately I'm forgetting them entirely. Is there a test you can do to rule out a more serious cognitive issue? And this was really suggested by Mary Jane Minkin, MD and clinical professor in the Department of Obstetrics, right, and Reproductive Services at Yale Medical School. And also, don't save questions for the end. Once your doctor is halfway out the door, he or she is already thinking about the next patient. Instead, come in with a list of concerns and address them within the first few minutes of your visit. Right? Next, and this is really touchy, a lot of people don't do this, explain what you can afford. Most doctors don't have a clue about a patient's out-of-pocket costs. Some aren't even sure which procedures, prescriptions, and lab tests are covered by insurance or Medicare. But that doesn't mean they're not willing to work with you to lower costs. If you can't afford a prescription, and I went through this, with somebody just last week, ask your doctor for an alternative, or ask him or her to help you prioritize your medications so you know which ones you can skip and which ones are non-negotiable. Next, and this is uncomfortable for all of us, have that end-of-life discussion. Talk to your family about what you want done when you are near death, and make sure your doctor is aware of those wishes. Writing it down as part of an advance directive isn't enough. And make sure there's a document in your medical chart that spells out exactly what you want. And, quite honestly, we talk a lot about tech here. With smartphone technology, you can even take 90 seconds and video an advance directive in your physician's office. So, and also, if you need further help, you can go to compassionandchoices.org. For more information. And last, and I experienced this with my mom before she passed, don't go it alone. Bringing in a loved one or family member to your medical visit can help ensure that the doctor listens to you and answers your questions. Your loved one can take notes, remind you about issues you wanted to discuss, and help you remember doctor's instructions after the visit is over. So don't be afraid to make a switch. Also, if your doctor rushes you through visits and doesn't address your questions or fails to listen to you without interrupting, look for a new physician. There's no shame in finding someone who's a better fit. When we come back, how the Amazon Echo became a virtual doctor. And we are back. So I'm David Yakir. You're listening to Yak About. So you've all heard me talk about the Amazon Echo and Alexa. And, it's one of my favorite gadgets. We have a bunch of them around the house now. We got the Echo Dots, and we have them hooked into radios, into stereo systems, etc. And I've told you that Alexa is useful for a great many things, from starting up a music playlist to talking you through a morning workout. So it probably comes as no surprise that Amazon's virtual assistant just became a doctor too. So here's how it works. There's a new Alexa app built by personal wellness startup HealthTap that lets you actually simulate a doctor visit right from your couch using the combined knowledge of the company's 100,000 doctor network. Now, HealthTap calls it Doctor AI, which is already available as an app for both iOS and Android. And it's kind of like a virtual WebMD, allowing you to describe your symptoms and respond to questions from a digital doctor with your own voice. The app provides feedback, including tips on how to mitigate symptoms, but stops short of definitely diagnosing any actual ailments for obvious legal reasons. However, if HealthTap's computerized physician thinks the situation is serious enough, it can connect you, the user, to an actual doctor for a live consultation, or even schedule an appointment with a patient's primary care or specialist. Once the skill, which is what these apps are called for Alexa, has been installed, simply saying, "Alexa, launch Doctor AI," and it will prompt the virtual doc to spring to life and begin gathering information. The app also logs information about your medications as well as your height, weight, age, and other vital stats to help customize its advice to each individual's specific needs. It's a slick little bit of Alexa functionality, but it obviously won't replace your regular doctor visits, at least not yet. Okay, so this one we'll call Yak About Politics, although it's not really political in that sense. So we've all been hearing about fake news, and there's sort of two parts of the discussion. One part is, actual fake news that's created in order to influence a political system. And the other one is real news that is categorized as fake. So this is seemingly a big problem in politics, and people get awfully confused what to believe, what not to believe. But there is now a university course to help people sniff out and refute bull. And that bull comes with a second part to the word, but we can't use it if we're online, only on the podcast. So not only is fake news everywhere, but some people even call genuine news fake, making it doubly hard for the average person to know what's real and what's fake. For example, President Donald Trump recently made up a terrorist attack in Sweden. And when the nation's former prime minister called bull, Donald said the refutation itself was fake news. Luckily, there's now a course at the University of Washington entitled, and again, I'll give you part of a word, Calling Bull in the Age of Big Data, that helps you find bad information and show others why it's bad. The instructors are Professor Jevin D. West and Carl T. Bergstrom, and they jokingly write that we will all be astonished if these skills do not turn out to be among the most useful that you acquire during the course of your college education. They add that the intention is not to be political, as both sides of the aisle have proven themselves pretty facile at creating and spreading bullshit. The intention, then, is to arm students and the public, if they want, with the tools to combat a scourge of misinformation that's aided and abetted by social media. Now, the